probably going to get a little excitable using a microphone. However, there has been a request by a couple of members that would like a recording of tonight's entertainment. Yes. So you'll see I've got my golf buggy sitting there. That's just a poor man's tripod with my phone sitting there. So please don't kick it. Otherwise Dylan's not going to look very flash on film.
You won't anyway.
As good as we can get him. Basically, yeah, thank you everyone. Basically it was a great idea. I believe Dylan pushed this himself and Shirt didn't drag him along kicking and screaming. The idea is, I guess, over the last 5 months you've been here now? Since 2 days after that fateful day on the 11th of May, when I met him over on the path between the 11th and 12th, threw with keys at him and said it's all yours. So yeah, basically obviously the course has copped an absolute rogering going back in May, and this is an opportunity for Dylan to explain why the course is, I guess, going in the direction it is. So basically, yeah, it's just an opportunity, and if anyone has any questions, please ask them, get it off your chest. It's the old saying that when you're a greenkeeper, you've got 500 bosses. It's pretty true, and the other secretary managers are probably the same. So, yeah, it's absolutely an opportunity to do this. And Dylan's background, I guess, when we looked at bringing him over here, we looked at Sanctuary Lakes' website. I stalked him quite extensively. And what they did there every month, I gather, you had a report that went on the website there. So basically I had more of an idea about Dylan's, how the course was at Sanctuary Lakes than what I probably knew about here, to be honest. So it's great to have a superintendent that communicates the way he does, and an opportunity to do this face to face I think is invaluable for everybody involved, to be honest. So I'll hand Dylan over and don't hold back on him.
Thank you, Sean. Now, tell me if this is right through the microphone, because it's the one thing I dislike about these things. So I guess, guys, I'll give a little bit of an intro on my background, because I think everyone just knows me as the new guy from Melbourne, stepping in, changing, doing things a completely different manner to what it has been. So originally I started in country Victoria, very similar golf course to Kingston Beach, so small staff crew, 2 to 3 guys, big volunteer crew. Very, very similar setup, short courses, tree line and things like that. So progressed my career very quickly though, and moved down to Melbourne to take on Sanctuary Lakes, which for anyone who doesn't know is a Greg Norman design championship course, held the Victorian PGA 5 years in a row there. Only had small staff though as well, six guys on staff, but total hectareage was actually nearly 2.5 times the size of Kingston Beach, so it's quite a large area for us to maintain, of tees, greens, fairways, and a lot of maintained but unmowed native roughs. It was about 20 hectares of that stuff, so that was quite intensive labour-wise there. But, hosted some really good events there. Division 1 pennant in Melbourne, which is the best pennant in the country. So we had to set up. We were we worked with Golf Victoria and set up and course set up and things like that. Ideally green speeds, and they actually they tell you what to do. You don't just go out and do what you like. So you change your management style a few months out to try and present the golf course for the best it can be for the membership, but also to get its name out there and promote it within Golf Victoria, which is an outstanding body of Golf Australia. Decided I'd had enough of the hustle and bustle of Melbourne, seen the opportunity down here in Tasmania, and was fortunate enough to apply and go through the process and be successful. Really like the layout, really love the location, and some of the great features of this golf course with the river. And so I'm running forth. I think it's got a great lot of potential with the cool season turf varieties and things like that. So unfortunately we got hit with the rain. Let's all hope that's 1 in 200, whatever, how many years it was that they said it was, and let's really hope that stays away and we can really get into some good work. So if that's a really quick update and brief history of me, I guess the golf course. I was on the boat on the Saturday night after ringing Sean, I think on the Tuesday, I think I made a phone call.
I think it was a call.
I think it was. I'd seen some pretty heavy rainfall, forecast, and said, look guys, let's not put this fertiliser out, let's wait till I get there. Fortunate enough, we didn't put it out, and instead of getting 70 mil, we got 240, I believe it was. So it was a good call, but the end result wasn't so pretty. I sat on the boat Saturday night not knowing quite what we were in for. I think Sean sent me a handful of photos on Friday, and it was just water. That was it. There was nothing else to it. I think it was the 7th green.
Yeah,
Sorry, it was pretty much just a pin, and I thought I was pretty excited about that.
Yeah, 15 married up very nicely with the 17
Yeah.
sawgrass.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, I made the journey through Tassie, tore through the middle of Tassie, didn't take in any sights, and got straight down here on the Sunday morning and met with Sean, and then met the boys for the first time pretty much on the Monday morning, and said, well, where do we start? What do we want to do? And we just tore into it, and then, I'll be honest, I think I was expecting probably 5 volunteers to show up and help out, coming from still the city life, and we ended up with 40, 60 maybe?
In that territory, yeah.
Absolutely unbelievable effort. So that was a great first day for me as a new guy on the scene, to show that the membership believed in the club and things like that. And without even knowing who I was, they had trust in me in the club. So that was a really good start. I think it probably took us a good four weeks, I think, to get the majority of the silt off. We got out of it unscathed fairly well. Obviously, we know we've got some damage on 9 and 10 and the like, but if we had sort of 2 to 3 inches of silt everywhere, the potential that we'd still be, we might have 4 or 5 fairways out of play would have been 90% chance that we were still there, because we just wouldn't have the infrastructure to recover so quickly, or the finances to reseed fairways and irrigation and things like that. It would have left quite a hell of a lot of mess. So I think the boys down in the shed have done a great job, and the club and the members have been a great support to get us back to where we are now. I think it'll take us all summer to recover the areas that we've got on 11 and 12 and 6 through. We'll just continually overseed those areas and keep as much traffic as possible off as we can, and let them do their natural thing with minimal inputs. And hopefully this time next year we're pristine like the rest of the place out there at the current time, which will be, I think, just another stepping stone with the clubhouse works, and the course making a new direction would be great. I think 3-4 weeks ago, I think everyone noticed that greens were really firm. People were a little scared, I believe. There's a little bit of brown patches around here and things like that. So the reason behind that is purely I needed to know limits of where I could take our turf grass to without killing it. Think of it as an athlete going to training every day. They test themselves, then they refuel their body. Race car drivers go to practice and qualifying, things like that. That was my practice, that was my qualifying. We need to know where we can go without absolutely killing everything and going, oh, we went too far. Now we know where our limits are. We can take a step back from that and put our management process in place with the team. So my management style will be different to Adrian's, there's no doubt about that. But every single greenkeeper, every single person, every single role they do will have a different style to someone else. I always tend on the firmer and faster course as a whole, not just as a greens speed. So we'll dry things out. It won't be as green everywhere, I don't think. It'll depend on the weather. But the reasons behind that are cultural practices for turf grass. So if we've got grass, you've got the top layer on, and we've got moisture the whole way through our profile, and we continually water the top layer every night or every 2 nights. So the top 2 inches only receives water. We're never going to get roots past that top 2 inches, because the turf grass doesn't need to grow. It doesn't need to stress itself, it doesn't need to push anything down. So for instance, if our pumps went down, hopefully they don't touch wood, if they go down and we're without water for 3 weeks, that 2 inches will dry up in 3 days down here in the middle of the sun with low humidity and wind. And all of a sudden our plant will start to die, it'll keel over. And that's more a risk that I'm not willing to take, because I don't want to put on you guys to lose a golf course and me lose my job. So if we can, instead of watering for 10 minutes every 2 nights, we'll water once a week and try and wet up 6 to 7 inches. Right, so they'll be a little bit soft at the start of the week, but as that moisture reduces and we dry from the top to the bottom, the roots will gradually grow and grow and grow. So on greens itself, we've already grown another 1.5 to 3 inches, depending on the green. 2 and 3, because they're so much colder in winter. It takes a lot longer for them for soil temps to come up and develop roots. So we'll naturally grow roots at this time of year, but it's how many we can grow and how quick we can grow them and how thick we can grow them. And that goes for tees, fairways, and it's not just greens. So the same watering practices will take place on the entire golf course. So it will dry out to a point, and then we'll wet it up again. And it'll dry out and we'll wet it up. So at the minute our cycle will run something like a water Sunday night or Monday morning, and then water on a Thursday morning, preparing it for Saturday. So we'll prepare for Tuesday, Wednesday, then a Friday and Saturday, and carry it through the Sunday. We've changed a couple of fairway shapes, everyone would have noticed. We have lost a little bit of fairway down hole 17. 13's a little skinnier up the green end, but as a whole, with the introduction of the intermediate rough, we've actually lost 0.3 of a hectare over our 7 hectares of fairways. So as a standard, it's minuscule. Reason behind that, I look at Kingston Beach as more of a UK parkland style setup, the tree line, the small greens, small tees, and things like that. So if we put down, not quite the management, but the aesthetics looks into that, I think the product we've got today is pretty close to our goals to continue through what we've got and continue that setup rolling through. And it's manageable. So we're bringing in our fairway size. So we sprayed fairways start of the week. We had all fairways sprayed in 5 hours. So that for me is a big aspect. So I can go out in front of the golf course, in front of the golfers, and mow fairways and spray fairways, and it's all done. You guys don't see us. It's not a hindrance to any of the membership or anything. That's a big thing for me. The first cut, so we can go out and have that cut before anyone comes through and plays done. So all the things we change are implemented for a reason, so you guys don't see us as much, but yet the course steadily improves and is maintained. End over end, it just continues. There'll be some emphasis that possibly I won't have green speeds and things like that for club championships as what we're used to, and that's correct. I see the product we've got out there at the minute, let's call that our 8 out of 10. But we want to keep that product. So this becomes our new baseline. Sure, things will dry out through summer. We can't control the weather, but surface-wise and green speed, green health, and all these little things, that's it. This is our new level to maintain consistently. If we can produce this standard for 10 of the 12 months a year, over the moon, absolutely over the moon, instead of producing something that no one plays on all year round, and then for 4 weeks of the year we've got to go out and play a completely different golf course, and then we bring it back. The standard might go to 12, but then we'll come back to 7s. We want to continue the standard throughout. So that's probably the biggest change I think you guys notice with my management style is a bit different in that aspect. And it'll take some time to adjust, but we're definitely not out here to kill anything and make it look ugly and anything like that. So I don't know, I'm not going to bore you with a whole heap of grommy stuff and things like that, because I can get on for days. But I guess I'll throw it out to you guys, because you guys have got if you've got concerns and issues and questions and things like that, throw them out and we'll get some answers out there and some facts around that. So yeah, that's all. And if there's no questions, I'll have another beer.
Maybe just explain the few new tees. Your idea is down to first.
Oh, yeah, you want to go to
13 and eventually 16. Yeah.
Oh, yep, no dramas. So the first tee, we're looking at some changes there. Obviously, we had the extension out to the right-hand side. We've looked at putting in 2 new tees below the left-hand tee complex, so it changes the angle of the golf hole. We did explore one on the lower right, but we figured that actually plays into the hill too much. So if you hit a shot it's going to land straight on the hill and take off down the green, which you may end up short of the green, you may end up on the green, you may end up on the in the bunker. So we're going to try and push them over to the left-hand side. First one's, say, 15 metres, I think, off the front of the current tee, and then another tee down just to the right a little bit, another 10 metres. So the idea behind that, I feel like I've watched numerous groups playing Wednesdays and ladies on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and the majority of their members can't actually carry it to that green and stop it. So they land it short and they end up in the bunker or they get stopped. So if we can introduce a tee where you can fly it to the green and stop it on the green, we feel that makes it a better golf hole, community-wise. So that is in the pipeworks. The excavator is over there for a reason. I can't put a timeline on when the actual tee will be in play, but we will do the base works. I think they'll be completed this week before the weekend. So it more likely be a winter job, but there's no time frame yet on that one. 13, we're looking to put a forward tee in, which we don't believe will change the rating. It would shorten it up for the ladies and the seniors and give us an option of, it's about 28 metres off the current ladies tee where it sits. So it can carry the marshland, the rough that we've got short of the fairway, which actually even today into that strong breeze for the men I feel was a bit of an issue. So we put another forward tee there. It just gives us another option to play without changing any ratings and things like that. And I think probably the biggest one that we're looking at, and we'll make some inroads on in the next 2 weeks, is the 16th tees. We all know we've got a lovely big pine tree there that blocks out half the green from our current tees. And from all reports I'm told, we used to have a tee that was pushed further to the right hand, so the whole alignment was straight. We're going to get that back in play, so that tree doesn't interfere with your golf shot. There'll be another 2 tees. The ladies' tee will remain where it is. We'll re-level it, re-turf it, but then there'll be 2 tees behind that up against the river, because we actually own the property going to the river. We own, there's no boundary line on that, so we can push it into where we see fit. And I think without having a tee there, I think we may lose 2 metres. It changes the angle, but it doesn't actually change the yardage of it. So let's say everyone left-handed, right-handed, hit a high, hit a low, we can actually hit a golf shot into that green and be respectful for it, because it's a great green complex. And then that tree stays there and becomes a feature of the hole instead of a hindrance. Everyone wants to kill it and cut it down, because we know that's not going to happen. So yeah, they're the works. It'd be great to say they'll all be done in the next 12 months. They probably will, but there's no guarantees on that. They're not actually in our pipeline of things to do yet. We haven't sat down and done our winter jobs list, but I'd fair say they will be done, so we can get them out of the way before the Tassie Open 2020, I believe. And then so the centenary, things like that. So any change we want to make, we want to get done before that, the centenary, and then we're back to smooth sailing from there.
So thanks very much for doing this. I take it from what you've said that you'd expect the course to be a little bit drier and a bit more runabout as a general thing.
Yep.
Are there any bits of the course that don't set up well for that? So like out the back of 15 or other places where you'd be looking at making changes because of what's going to be the new normal?
Not at this stage. I'd love to see it go. I'll watch it closely through a summer and see how we dry out and what dries out really bad. We know 14 and 15 fairways and things like that dry out because of the trees. Like we've already pumped hours and hours of water into there, and we haven't pumped any water into 17, for instance. So things like that. So we'll watch it closely, and then I'll put back to the committee my thoughts, and I'll have their thoughts together. And definitely, the plan is we will come up with pretty much a 1, 3, 5, 7, 10-year plan for the course, for whether I'm here, the committee changes, whoever it is. At least then we've all got one goal to work towards, so it favours the club. Because it's about the club. It's not about me or the committee or anyone else. It's about the logo that sells the memberships and retain members. So I think obviously you're talking about 15 green at the back.
Oh, so I'm assuming that we might end up in different spots with the dry along the course.
Yep.
So like
Yep.
out the back of 15, 4 tends to have a bit of run when it's
Yep.
dry and those sorts of
Yep.
things. if you'd identified, well, you've already talked about one, if you've identified any bits that will be, changed because...
No, I don't think so.
might be finished up.
The main reason behind my thought process on a bit firmer and faster is I feel that, especially if you're 20 metres short of a green, or 10 metres, let's say, you should have an option to play a variety of golf shots. My personal feeling was when I first arrived, I didn't feel everyone could do that. I still don't think we can at the minute with how we're prepared. We've got a lot of work to do in our approaches and things like that. If you can be 10 metres off the green and you're not a confident chipper, I want you to be able to putt the ball. If you don't want to putt the ball, you should be able to hit a chip and run, or hit a high shot. So we're trying to bring all them options in, and that's based around the firmer and faster kind of thing. And it's just, overall, it's just more sustainable. By being a little bit drier, requires less fungicide, less fertiliser, insecticides, herbicides, everything on that level just drops down substantially drops down. So that's more behind it. And I'm sure we will find that certain fairways will roll out to different areas that haven't before. And if we find that we've got any issues with that, we can change some shapes and things like that. So it'll be an interesting thing to watch over the summertime and move from there. So.
Dylan, first of all, I'd just like to thank the club for having something like this. I think this is fantastic. Should be more of it, especially free food. The bunkers, I would, on behalf of, I'd say, 99.5% of the members, they're fantastic. Done a really good job. I noticed hasn't been a great deal of water on the greens. In the past, when we were watering the greens a hell of a lot, and the bunkers had valleys in them and whatever have you. I'm just wondering what has been done underneath that when we do put some water on, will they be like this or will they go back to what they were?
No, so they won't go back to what they were, and if they do, that's our job to fix them before you guys see them. So if you were, you'll never know. We installed drainage after the flood events. We didn't need to in 16 because that already naturally drains well enough. And 6 was the same. Once we dug that, we actually found it had natural sand under there, so it went quite well. So the ones on 10 and 9 and 17 and the like, they've worked very well to consider we couldn't have a lot of fall, that's why we had to do the pit scenario. They made that tough because we can only pump out as much as it wants to fill, so it might take us a couple of days to pump it out. But water-wise, I think, we'll probably go have issues the other way, which I think we would have had last week. I think Brett mentioned to me yesterday we had a couple of issues and some balls getting plugged in faces and stuff. And that's probably going to happen more with this end as it gets so dry, because it's from, is it 7 Mile Beach? 5 Mile. So it's literally June sand. So it does dry out very quick, it doesn't hold much moisture at all. So you will see actually our guys with a hose at times. Today on 16, I actually watered that bunker, the face, trying to get some balls and some moisture so they don't stay in there. So it won't be the case of us putting too much water down, it'll be nearly the case that they'll dry out and cause more issues for us. So that's something we're going to have to adjust to as well, because it's a new sand variety. We do still have to change over the first and the second and things like that. So the plan over the next year is to get them all consistent across the board, and we'll play it by ear. But by us watering on the Sunday to Monday, it doesn't interfere with anyone's play. So if there is valleys, we have time to then go and fix them up. And by us doing it on a Wednesday night, same scenario, we can fix them up before anyone sees them. We have any issues. So that's the job, and that's what the team do. So
Thank you.
Dylan, just your thoughts on the 8th hole. Now that the big tree's been taken away, that green has shrunk over the years, and to the left of it, you might notice a couple of depressions. There used to be 2 pot bunkers there, probably more to catch the ladies' 15th tee, but I think that hole needs something on that left-hand side there. Is that a possible consideration, like a mount or even just a...
Not at this minute, no. We definitely have. We've got other focus areas that would put our time and expense into. One thing I will say, I feel that hole could be improved by actually the trees on the right being thinned out.
trimming them down.
Yeah, we've got some significant gums in there that overhang. So they're beautiful trees. We don't want to get rid of them. But if we were to de-limb a few things, it opens up that shot value. So it's, you can hit the cuts and the fades and stuff.
Well, that's the
like
ideal
that.
shot, is a fade.
Okay.
So it's something like 32 bunkers that were here when I started a couple of years ago,
Yep.
and no longer there.
So, simple answer is no, there's nothing to go there at the minute. It'll remain turf grass for the time being, yeah. But, as I said before, that may come in the 1, 3, 5, 10 year plan. And that plan will be committee addressed, and I would say wouldn't go and be approved until membership is seen and gets debated about it at SGM. So, it's, it has to go through a procedure. Because it's not about us. It's about the outcome. Yeah.
First impression.
Yeah.
Just on when we started on trees, and those beautiful old growth trees that we were talking about massacring. I think they're a feature of the course, and I think we should be very cautious about that.
100%. 100%.
But the other trees that I think we need to worry about are the blackwoods on the second.
Yep.
And maybe what we need to do is I think we should leave the ones there, but they're all dying. But maybe we should be putting some young ones underneath.
Yep, so it was spoken two meetings ago, I believe. I had mentioned that I would love to undertake a tree audit of the golf course for any indigenous species and things like that, and weeds as such, to pick and choose, and we can put that in our plan down the track. If we wanted to remove some weeds and pest kind of trees, we can, and for where we want to replant and what species we want to replant, because we've got some great wildlife and fauna and stuff like that. So I'm all for encouraging more wildlife and fauna. It's a great little sanctuary down here. Every golf course is. Everyone thinks they're horrendous because we spray chemicals all the time, we kill everything, we're the worst people in the world. It's quite the opposite. We only spray when we need to spray, and the chemicals and stuff this day and age has come leaps and bounds compared to 5 years ago. It's really improved a lot. So we're all about improving the environment, A, for us, ourselves, and B, for the flora and fauna and things like that. So.
Have you got any thoughts about the Blackwood just off the tee on the 15th on the left edge?
15.
I don't know why you brought that up.
It's a tight shoot, we'll say. Yeah, you've probably got better thoughts than me, to be honest.
I didn't say cut it down, I just asked about their thoughts.
Not particularly, no, actually. It's a tight little shoot, and I think it fits the hole. It's another one. I don't think we need to cut anything down, and we need to go through a prune line. I'll use the Metropolitan, for instance, right now. They've got the World Cup golf in a couple of weeks. They've just gone through for the last 2 weeks. And any overhanging limbs, there was one hole they trimmed 2 limbs off and actually widened the entire shoot by 30 metres because you could just get out to the angle. So it just improved that radius a little bit.
You've got rid of the Blackwood on that, almost on the same position, but on the other side.
Possibly. Different holes, different shot, requires a different shot. So at this stage, no. There's nothing earmarked for tree removal at all. And if it is, it'll be a procedure that goes through. So.
What about sags around the bunkers and the rough? My opinion is if you hit a bad shot, you're supposed to be penalised by ending up in a bunker, not in sags beside a bunker or 8 to 10 inch grass between 2 bunkers. That makes it even harder again.
Yep. So grand vision, this is only a personal vision, this has been discussed with committees or anyone else, is I don't think they fit this style of golf course. For me, as I said before, there's a parkland style. I see this fits the eye, it suits the membership, it really suits that well. So if that's the case, yeah, they would come out and we'd go back to some more turfed areas. Even areas behind the 12th, for instance. So easy for me to manage if that was grass instead of a garden. So there's definitely, I think there's room for some changes in there, but that's only my personal opinion.
Just on that, I think the fairway bunker on 6 as well is pretty rough around there, like more likely to end up in that rough stuff than actually in the bunker. So it's probably not as bad as it could be.
Yep, 100%. So there's a few things we can alter around.
You mentioned approaches. Are you going to widen some of them up around? Again, looking at it, they seem to only penalise high handicap players or the shorter hitters, not guys that can hit
over the top of them
through wedge into
Yep.
a green.
Yep. There's a handful we may look at. More for me, that's based around as I said before, playing the shot, being firmer and faster, and being able to maintain the quality surface. And that comes down to irrigation. So we know we don't have the world's best irrigation system. If we can make our surfaces that we can irrigate easily superior to anyone else, and I'll say in the state because that's my personal goal to beat everyone else, and then we can go from there. So at the minute we want to have our base level. We want to be the best, obviously. Bamboos and things like that make it hard to do. But you've got to strive, and then we can work out from that. So, and the biggest thing we've got at the minute is tree roots. So we're actually trying to shape our golf course around some of these tree roots. To be honest, that's kind of depicted where some of these holes go and where they're skinny and where they're not. We've taken into account, lay-up areas and stuff like that. But the biggest thing is tree roots, especially 14, 15. We were banging up mowers more than anything, and a fair mower's worth 85,000. Every time we go on fairways, heads are bouncing all over. At least that's in the first cut now. We can get away with that without damaging our machinery. So it hasn't just been, we're going to make this skinnier, we're going to mow this here. There's been thought behind the processes that have gone into it. So I think we'll get through this summer and season and see how we can present the place and see how our turf holds up. If it holds up really well and we feel we can manage some other areas and from feedback from you guys, because usually you guys have played every day, not me, and then we can adjust from there.
A bit of feedback the other way. So, how do the members of this club compare to your other experiences in terms of fixing pitch marks and plug marks and the like?
Pretty good. I won't say exceptional, because I don't think anyone will be on our standards, because we're very fussy about that. It's still...
Is there anything you see that you'd rather not see?
No, because I'll always see bad things. Guaranteed. Unfortunately, we'll always see that, doesn't matter where we are. But I think that the biggest difference here is, so that Sanctuary Lakes, when it opened back in 2000, 2001, right, you could buy a thing called a gold platinum membership. It was $32,000. These guys rocked up, they got the bags taken out of the car, and to this day, there's still members that paid $32,000 there. I can walk in right now and get a membership for $2,500. The standard, has changed a little bit, but the expectation from them early membership is that they don't need to do anything. It doesn't matter if I make a pitch mark, you'll fix it. If I go in a bunker, you'll rake it. So things like that is different here. I've noticed, and that's at all smaller clubs, I feel. You either go really small or very high level golf clubs. There's just more care because you still pay good money, but the premium's there that people will still tell people off to care about their club because everyone respects their golf club. And that went hand in hand when we had 60 people show up to help out to get the place playable and open again so the community can come and enjoy it. So I think all in all, we're actually pretty good. We haven't gone out to a couple of greens and gone, geez, there's no pitch marks, but we're going, geez, there's not 100 of them. And that all comes back again to being a slightly bit firmer. They do get harder to see as well when they are firmer. I will admit that. So people will hit in and go, can't find it and leave it. We'll then see it in the morning. In the low light of the dew, we can see them easy as hell. But I'm aware of that as a manager that you guys can't see me. There's 3 or 4 that I couldn't find today that I hit myself. They're there, but you just can't find them. So you've got to be excused for that. It's one of those things. So. But as a whole, yeah, it'd be impressive. Right?
Can I ask a question about hawthorns? They're not native species, obviously. We play golf with a bloke whose family probably came here in the first decade of the 19th century from Norfolk Island, settled, built this place, this house, and probably planted a lot of those trees. I think clearing the hawthorns out along the edge of the right-hand side of the 9th green is good. That was a good place to trap and lose balls. But I think, at this time of the year, the hawthorns are magnificent. And I'd hope I mean, part of the historical fabric of the place. I'd love to see them.
I've definitely noticed they're everywhere down here in Tassie.
Yeah.
Apparently it's something everyone loves. I've never come across a pricklier damn bush in my life. And the reason behind that clearing up was so we can get some more airflow and some sunlight on that green.
Yeah.
That was the main reason behind that.
No, that's true.
We don't actually have, apart from that section still, there's none that comes to my head straight away that are in play or in a line of sight or damaging golf course. Yeah, we've got a heap on the hill on the third, but for the time being they're in play, so we've got no intentions to wipe them out, because I'm sure there's still native bird life that's found them a home there because they're a prickly bush. So it's one of those things we'll just earmark and audit and it stays and things like that. But it's going to be a committee club decision. I'm not going to go out there wielding a chainsaw and just stuff down. So it's not about that. So.
Well, Dylan, I'd like your thoughts on the 16th. It's always been a problem. If there's a hold up anywhere on the course, it's on that 16th. Have you got a thought of any ideas as to what we should do there, or has it crossed your mind, or it hasn't cropped up?
Hasn't really popped up, to be honest, Pato, but I would dare say, from my experience, just saying, it's a difficult path road. So that there adds a few minutes, no doubt about it. And with that carry, so I think it's something we'll maintain is that carry, trimming of them sags and stuff. We won't eliminate them because it's such a wet area, so they do serve a purpose. But with them being long, you guys can't find golf balls if you hit a shot in there. We can't play out of there. So we'll continue to maintain that. So at least you can find your golf ball and hit out of it. That in its turn will speed up play during a heap, which will surprise everyone. So I think that's the only thing we can really do, which will speed up play for that golf hole. And possibly while moving the set. Because that hopefully will take the tree out of play, let's say 40 to 50, 60% of the time for a lot of players.
Paul's
so you don't see it
doing a
bounce
pretty
off.
good job there at the
Yeah.
present moment by bringing it back a bit.
Yeah, so we'll see how we go.
How's the divot patterns looking on the range team, mate? Are they alright?
Haven't been out there after the little tackers were attacked.
I didn't know I did them all in one line today.
Good to hear.
With the tee beds that you're thinking of changing on 16 and 1, so with one, is it shortening the hole more so, pushing down that left edge?
So one will play shorter because obviously it plays the same length for everyone at the minute.
Yep.
Which is probably unfair. Us guys, we can carry it there, we can stop it on the green. Guys are, it's playing 150 to the pin today, I think. So if you can't carry it there and let's say you're hitting through wood, you've got no chance of stopping. So it just hurts the higher handicapping people a lot more, I think. So it'd be 10 metres shorter, and then the forward tee would be 10 metres again, like that. So.
The white tees will very rarely be down the only the rest of the top
I was
tees.
just going to
It's
say,
mainly a red tee.
Yeah, we're planning on maintaining still the 16th where it is and the first where it is for.
So the first, on the first run, the only part we'll lose is the right hand side. So if you look where the sign is currently, the medley sign, we'd had intentions from there of just keeping that tee from there anyway, so you play from the left hand side. The teeing ground's too small to be a par 3 to maintain, so we're just going to put another step down. Being the first hole, we've got make it that feature so when you're sharp play golf, we've got a beautiful view, beautiful teeing service, and not a bad hole after we do that.
Yep, cool.
On divots, sometimes you see sand put in the hole,
Yep.
a bit of turf put on the top.
Yep.
Which is ridiculous. I mean, the ideal, in your view, is...
My views change depending on season. I'll speak from a golfer's point of view first. I prefer them to hit out of the clean divot with no sand, but that's not what we're talking about. Winter, put the divot back because it's got moisture. Summer, especially when we haven't irrigated now for it'd be nearly 2 weeks on our fairways and stuff like that. So more than likely that divot, if it's a thick divot, put it back, it's got an opportunity. If it's a thin divot and you can still see a little bit of grass or a little bit of root at the bottom of the divot, just put it with sand and hopefully that'll contain the moisture in there and just leave it. So it really comes down to the thickness and the length of it. If it's a really big, fat, fill it of a divot,
Slap it back in.
put it back in because the
Sand on
moisture
top?
in there. No, just leave it as it is.
Okay.
It'll.
Righto. I mean, we take sand buckets, we're obliged to take sand buckets.
Yep.
Is that a waste of time or?
Not for the skinny ones. For the smaller ones and the shallow golfer, put in because that helps keep the moisture in there. The plants are an unbelievable thing. While you putting the bigger divot back in, more than likely in this weather, 2 days time, you'll see a root pop out the bottom if it's got moisture. So that's all it comes down to is moisture.
Will sand actually do harm?
I won't do harm, but I am in the process of getting a topsoil and sand mix so we can hold more moisture in our divots and get a better repair, especially for our par 3 tees and things like that, so we can get some seed to generate. Because that's always going to be the biggest problem trying to grow seed, even at home. If you put seed in the straight sand, you know you've got to water it every hour, on the hour. If you miss one, you'll lose 50% of your strike.
And if you if you take a thin divot,
Yep.
knocking the edges in and pulling it together
Knock it in.
is a good idea.
Yep, 100%.
Yeah.
Because the grass is durable. Half the time I think you can get through that by knocking the edges in and stomping it down. If you're happy if your ball landed on it, walk away. Sand dubs our mowers, and sometimes you come across and you got half a sandy castle on the fairway, you got to get up and kick it off. So it really does change for each situation.
So, I mean, is sand superfluous, really? Will we do away with sand buckets?
No, we definitely won't. I don't think we can be a club that can do that because we don't have the manpower to go out and do things like that. I think we'll change our material though. So if we can go to maybe a 70-30 mix of topsoil sand, I think the improvement we'll see in our divot repair will be...
It's certainly not the sand in the hole and then the divot on the top.
So when I mow it, I'm going to just mow the divot. So yeah, not much purpose at all.
What's your favourite hole?
The 19.
Depends on the day. At the minute, it's not, but I see 12 being the best hole in the golf course because of the river. It's an asset. We need to use the river. Hence why we trim them trees on the left down. So if golfers can stand on the tee and set up and go, well, there's water the entire side, that's going to make you think a little bit. It's a good green complex. We'd love to make it great over the next few years, but I think 12 is a good one.
It doesn't make you think, it makes you tighten up.
Each to their own.
Originally it was a par 3.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, where the tees are. So yeah, I think that can be our best hole. Currently at the minute, I'd say I like 4. Take it on, presents really well. In this current situation, it's a good green complex. So yeah.
You got any plans to where it's dried out and there's no grass there on the right of the 12th? Anything to fix that on an ongoing basis?
Yep. So that got seeded last week. Last Thursday, I believe they got seeded. It was, seeded, fertilised, then we had some rain and that. So we should hopefully see some germination in that. Depending on the weather, if we can get some 20 degrees, it'll germinate within the 14 to 20 day period. And then we'll work from there. So it's about getting a base, and we'll continually overseed that, and hopefully hit some of the best rough on the golf course and look real nice. And then we can work in from there and get the fairway and things like that developed up. So I think that's we can see that. We can see it from the road. So if there's a puddle there, everyone drives past Kingston Bench, you go, we're not going to go and play. It's full of water. It's wet. I don't want to get muddy, which isn't the case. I didn't think it was that wet this winter. I've heard all the reports that it turns to absolute mud in winter, and I've been at much muddier golf courses. So I think we can get rid of that stigma. And it could be as simple as one little area. Sure, every golf course gets wet after 30 minutes of rain. That's something. The same thing we've been told that there's a sand layer that stops halfway. Well, at the minute it continues to go. The problem is it's 8 inches deep to get to it. So I believe there was cows down the bottom of the hill, ran as paddocks for numerous years. What it looks like is all the paddies and everything were left there, as you do in farmers, and we've actually got a layer of the humus and things like that. So if we can start to break down our layer and get some infiltration to the sand, all of a sudden this won't be a wet golf course. It'll be fairly dry. So I think that's a big positive that we can. That excited me to know that there's a possibility that we can actually dry the place out in the middle of winter. We know we've got some drains in there that we didn't know about. We found them after the storm. So we can also, the second and the third, we can run some more drains in there to dry them out. So, if we can have carts for 12 months a year, that's a big positive to our aging membership. And if we can just have it playable without lift, clean and place 12 months a year, that's a huge stepping stone. So there's a lot of stuff that behind the scenes excited us. It's going to take a lot of work and some jobs and stuff like that, but there's some basic infrastructure there and some bones that we can actually work with. So we'll see where we go.
One final question. The gentleman here a couple of months ago with a state of the art coring machine.
Yes.
How did that go?
Air 2 G2. Good question. I believe it went really well. It's probably been around, I think it's 6 or 7 years now. Used a lot in America, as most things are before they come over here. Was used a lot in Melbourne. A lot of guys were using, but no one could really come up with any hard evidence that it was working. It's great in theory. You're injecting oxygen into your subsurface, spreading your pores, your infiltration should go up, your roots should dive down. Sounds great. Does it work? I don't really know. Does it work out here? I think it has. I haven't seen roots grow as quickly and as vigorous before until I've done that. So we're going to use him another 2 times. So we'll have it back after our major grandeur renovation in January, which is going to be the first week after New Year's. We're going to hit greens pretty hard then because we've held them on for so long now. And then we're going to go again probably late March. Generally speaking, now in Australia, eastern suburbs of Australia, March is our hottest month. So we'll give them some relief after that. I think that'll be our real truth. If we can get roots to push to that 6 to 7 inch mark, just by utilising that machine, it'll be really, really beneficial. And it takes out the process. It doesn't take out the process. It saves us some time. We can not core grains. I'm comfortable to not core grains. Take one of them out for the season if we continue to use the Air 2 G2 because we're getting some changes underneath the soil. So the only reason we want to do heavy core aeration in January is to change what's on top. So we've got a bit of a layer on top that we want to get rid of. So we'll core very hard and scarify very hard in January. But all the Air 2 G2 work it does is underground that no one can see. So we'll continue to use them and make it cool. But so far so good.
In the past, there's been a lot of emphasis about setting the course up to play long.
Yep.
So obviously the next 4 weeks, monthly memory, we're going to play off the blocks. A lot of our tees is the worst spots. I know you've been, moving the tees around to give them a break. Is there a little bit of thought, like at the end of the day, is a metre inside the block going to hurt for length? If it's a flat tee surface rather than, like just a little bit of thought.
So
when the course is set up.
Again, this is all personal. It's got nothing to do with match committee, grants committee. I've just come from a club where we actually did mix it up completely because we looked at what tournament in the world plays off the back plates 4 rounds. None. So we said, why do we have to have a club championship? It was a bit of a stigma. But how many golf courses in Australia play off the back plates for club championships? Nearly all. So it's a monthly medal thing. It's just what's done. So I'm definitely not against moving around, but there's no reason we can't make this place play any longer. It is what it is. We're not going to redesign a golf club just because people want to play longer. Some of the best golf courses in the world aren't long. You still go out to Kingston Heath and Royal Melbourne, Metropolitan, Victoria. They're all short. You'll go out and shoot 100 every day of the week if you like. To enjoy golf, you shouldn't have to pull driver out and hit it 300 metres. Sure, if you can, that's great, but you can also hit it 300 metres sideways and get you in more trouble. So at the minute, we've probably noticed we've been wrestling with backs of tees since renovations a lot. I think that was probably the worst part for me when I started was we need to get tees good for clubbies. And I know we're going to chew them up in the next 4 weeks really hard. So that's probably why my style again is to skinny tees up. So I'll split tees. It'll be a minimum of 5 paces as it is. At least that way we've got an opportunity to play half, and go half a step forward. That's where we're at for this season, and it will play off the plates this year. We've already made those decisions, so that's how it'll play. But there's nothing wrong with it. It doesn't change anything. So.
you, I was going to say, if you want to make it tough for the club championships and the monthly medals, just keep putting the pins where you do.
Good point.
Okay. No, you know, club championship, I'll touch on that a little bit, obviously, because it starts this Saturday apparently, so we better be ready. For me, club championships is great at every golf club, but I don't believe in setting a golf course up harder than what it normally is, because we don't play on that like that. You know, sure, we can get greens to 14 by Saturday if we want. What's the point? No one's played on one for months. So everyone will go out and 3-putt from 2 feet. It'll take 6 hours to play golf. Everyone will be furious. No one will come back the week after. Well, I'm not playing there anymore. So there's kind of no point. So if we can maintain it at a level, so we've got to maintain the golf course. So the ladies had their foursome championship last week and started this week. So we're looking at a 5 to 6 week window that I need to try and keep this golf course at the same level. If it was a 4-day tournament, sure, I can speed everything up, we can cut it low, we can make it look good. But the week after, I'm going to pump the water into it and fungicides and fertiliser and everything to bounce it back. So and that's where my style comes in. We want to keep it the same for everyone, all the way through. So there's no point making it harder and tougher. Let the best man win. Everyone's got handicaps for a reason. We all play golf for the same reason. If someone shoots 62, great golf. You know, so we've got no reason to change it. We've got a good golf course. Let it have its own defence. I think where it's at the minute's pretty good. I'm sure from first round to fourth round, sure, things will go a little bit more because we're coming into the season. We might see green speed up a foot to half a feet to a foot. That just is what it is. There's nothing we can really do. If we do find it firms up, we'll put some more water on, slow it down a little bit if anything. So it plays the same as what it did today. Because this has got to be the benchmark from last weekend to this weekend to Saturday. Whatever this is, everyone's got a feel for it already, so we've got to keep it there now. So it's probably unlucky. We got 30 mils rain last week. I felt we had, everything was still on the firmer side, but now I still had control of what we put down, so we could have got there. That took that control away from me last week with 30 mils. It's drying out, but it's not quite going to be there. It's going to be a little bit softer in some areas, so we'll keep it there. That's how we'll work it. So, yeah.
So you still prefer the green slightly further?
After playing today, probably not. I think they're a pretty good spot. I think they rewarded a good golf shot, and a bad golf shot didn't stop, so I ran through. That's it. We've got to be careful of that because we've got small greens. We don't have big greens, but hit a good golf shot, get rewarded. Hit a poor golf shot, get penalised enough. Not to a stupid degree that you can never stop the golf ball on. So we've got more grass on these things than what we've ever had, and we've kept it firm. And I think everyone's noticed. I think that's been a bit of a difference. But we can still create a smooth ball roll and consistent ball roll. If you pick the line, see the line, hit the ball there, it'll go in at the minute. You know. That's the confidence thing about it. So a pretty good spot.
Are there any bunkers you want to fill in or trees you want to cut down?
I'd be lying if I said there was no trees that we want to cut down. Purely for shade issues. It's not because they're trees, it's because from a turf management point of view, they make my job harder. Listen, I think we're up to about 6 hours of water now on the 14th and 15th fairways. But it still wouldn't matter if we cut half them down. It wouldn't change that scenario. But it's more about airflow around greens and tees, like the 8th tee and the 7th tees. 2 of our tees get worn out the most. They're the only 2 tees that I had to start watering. Everything else could have got through for another 3 weeks, but we'd already put 3 hours into it. But that's part of the job, there's nothing you do about it. So yeah, you could definitely trim some up to get some shade light. The Blackwood's left at 4, the 4th green stays in shade for really 6 hours of the day in winter, and you've only got about 8 hours sunlight, so, and it still only gets about 20% sunlight. So that makes it hard to manage. If they start to thin out, you can't recover them in winter, so you've got to send them in really hard. And bunkers, I think we've got a pretty good number. May move some, but I think the number's right. I don't think we need any more. I think it fits the maintenance side for the crew. We can easily maintain it to the standard that I want, and I think that there's enough in play for the membership. So I think we're at a pretty good spot there.
We've only got small tees, haven't we?
Yeah, we do. We've got very small tees actually.
Would you like to see a big sign on the first, all social golfers play off the blue. I would say 95% of social golfers play off the white. Is that causing you a great deal of trouble?
I don't think so, mate, because at the end of the day,
Because we've got small teams?
yeah, we've still got though, you know, we've still got to replace our divots anyway. You know, so I can go out there today knowing that, what do we have, Brett? 10 social golfers in this afternoon maybe? The divots out there today are caused by us. We cut tees this morning and moved markers. So any divots that are out there right now aren't caused by social golfers, it's caused by the membership base. So it doesn't affect them. It doesn't change my job. My job's to grow great turf in all our areas. So if we manage them properly, it shouldn't be an issue. So, Benny?
I was just saying, is there going to be any more love in the bunkers? Like, I like them the way they are at the moment. So they settle, they're a little bit firmer, you've only got a minimal amount of, say, top sand. But for some people that obviously struggle in bunkers, they're coming to speed quite firm, not a lot of bounce. So,
Which ones are they?
mainly like the first.
Yeah, so all right, so if I was to pick them without going through it, I'd say the first, the second, and the fourth have potential to do that because they haven't had new sand. Any of the new sand stuff's probably the other side. It's probably a little bit too much sand in for me. But that still hasn't settled in completely, and because they're drier, there's a lot of sand shifting. And we've noticed that with the winds. Everyone knows that with the winds. This sand's going to move around a lot more than the other stuff. But that's the choice we made because we wanted a high infiltration sand. But when it's wet in winter, our bunkers are still in play. So that's the toss-up and the management we've got to do. Through summer, keep some moisture. Through winter, hopefully our bunkers are all still in play and good. So that'll come in turn when we get rid of the old sand in their bunkers and replenish with new. So that should even out that playing field. We were definitely mindful of that after the storm event. You know, but budget and all that stuff. I mean, we could only do what we could do. So. All good? Yep. Beautiful. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, mate.